Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for a max effort lower day, but a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please remember to click a like down below. It would be greatly appreciated, and comment to give some more engagements. Alright, so today I did a lot more ramping. What I'm going to do with the max effort lifts, because I am only going to do one, and I do want them to get fairly heavy, but they're always going to be slightly fatigued maxes, because I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with weights that I know are a little below 90% and just start ramping and keep going until I hit a grinder. Right? We're going to keep going till one grinds. And I got right about there on the fourth single that I pulled with 555 plus the 35 chains. This tells me, because it was a little difficult, that my strength is still down a hair on the deadlift. It's not quite where it was because around the knee and just above the knee are where I tend to stick on the deadlift, and I always explode off the floor. So chains and stuff tend to give me a very good idea of where I am. They give me a very, very good idea because I don't stick at the bottom. I explode off the bottom, and people have always noted that. So that's through the lockout. That's around 590, and it was a little grindy. I'm not saying it was 100% because it wasn't, but it was close enough. So again, it lets me kind of ballpark where my strength is. I'm probably barely pulling 600 right now. So again, we've got to rebuild a bit. And so as I said in yesterday's other vlog, I went ahead and did pull-ups today. I'm going to do pull-up variations probably all 4 days. Really the way I need to go. And I tend to agree more with guys like Dave Tate. A lot of my lifters do really well if I make them do lat work on all their days. And if you think about it, because we're really doing an upper lower, but really it's a squat bench deadlift split. It's a deadlift accessory, so it can still count for our lower days. So this lets us get adequate volume while still getting enough workload, because it's kind of hard to do 6 to 10 quality sets of lats in one workout. It really is. You start to fatigue very, very quickly. So it lets us get a little more quality work in that way, and we get grip training every day that way. I also decided to try some really narrow so I could go really deep belt squats, and I realized that weight is way too heavy. I stripped it down, got some sets of 10, and I'm going to have to build up, but I'm going to do these really, really narrow. Why? Because this is probably the only true quad work I get outside of the speed work. I mean, I'm doing the prowler work, and that still works quads, but I'm worried about that deep knee angle and that ability to power out of the bottom on a squat. So I really want to do these. Plus, if I'm forced to use a lighter weight and go much, much deeper through deeper joint ranges of motion, we're still getting the hypertrophy that we want. While looking at stimulus to fatigue, this will improve it. All right? Because I'm always going to do my speed squats probably really, really wide. All right? I probably will unless I go back to straight up Olympic squatting. So it makes sense in this context because everything else is so posterior chain dominant in my training. We probably could benefit from this, from a little extra quad work. Again, just to work towards getting that squat way up. And the thing that I have to look at too is I think even though I'm going to do the 220 and I'm slow cutting at the moment, I'm not even slow cutting the last couple of weeks. It's going fast. I probably need to keep getting leaner. And I don't need to worry about being super competitive this year. I just need to break some state records, go to at least one national or higher level event. I'm already qualified for 3 to 4 weight classes at everything below worlds right now. So whether I do North American, nationals, whatever, qualified in all of them. So I'm just going to get a little leaner. I'm probably going to drop under 220 for walk around weight. And that'll let me build up lean from there and try to fill out the 220 at a much, much lower body fat. And I think that's a strategy I'm going to have to use, because what is it I always tell you guys when we're dealing in weight classes? You want to either be the shortest or the leanest guy in your class. Well, at 220 and me at 5'9", I'm not even going to be close to ever being the shortest guy in a 220 class. Right? I'm routinely still going to have to, even in the masters, I may have to compete against guys an inch or two shorter than me. When I looked at, the 198, when I was trying to do the water cuts to get to that, every meet I went to, the average 198 guy was 3 inches shorter than me. across all the different age classes, just on average. So, in that context, I'm going to have to just keep getting leaner. I'm going to have to get leaner, I'm going to have to get thicker, and I'm going to have to fill out the weight class if I want to do this the healthy way and the safe way. So I'm probably going to have to keep losing a little body weight. I'm going to have to drop under 220 and then fill it out. And then if I get big enough, do very small water cuts, right? Meaning 5 or 6 pound water cuts, right? As it stands now, the way things are going, I probably won't have to water cut at all for the next meet. Just get breakfast. Just don't eat breakfast or drink until the weigh-in and I'll be good. And you usually want to do that anyways, even if you're right at the cusp of a weight class, because then you'll drop a couple pounds through the morning. And if you do that, it gives you a little better Wilk score, dot score, whatever you're looking at. So I did 3 sets of the glute ham raises. Again, wanting to work those hamstrings, build the hamstrings up. And I'm noticing now that I'm adding these in carefully and having, again, removed the creatine, the hamstring cramps are very, very manageable. I think I've got like 1 in the last week, and it was very manageable, but very mild because I did some other stuff that might have caused it, when it happened. So I think I can push the glute ham raises a little harder now that I may have found part of my culprit, because I've used creatine for years. I don't come off of it because of the cognitive benefits. But yeah, having done some digging, hamstring cramps and creatine, it's fairly common. It is what it is, and it's not hydration issue purely because I stay super hydrated. All right, so working with the reverse hypers, again, this is a newer reverse hyper machine, totally different beast. I've worked up to 495 for sets of 10. I managed to squeeze out 6 sets of 10 today, and I'm probably going to keep working those up a little bit. But having added the extra set of glute ham raises, even though this is more or less what I did last workout, the extra set of glute ham raises beforehand still made the total posterior chain workload a hair higher. And like I said, over time, I want to work the volume up a little bit on these. I want to push these really, really hard. It'll be one of the few exercises I do high volume on. Everything else, we want nice moderate to low volume, push progression on all the supplemental lifts, keep my workloads manageable. So, yeah, six sets of 10 here. And, I will say this Rogue Z Hyper is definitely more sturdy than what I previously had. People had brought that up and they had said, well, your other one's rated to 700. And I'm like, you guys have no idea how much it wobbles and shakes. And even the posts, these posts are a much heavier material. The bolting together is more solid. Like even on the posts that you put or really the sleeves, whatever you want to call them. They really are posts, though, that you put the plates on are considerably more durable. I think the ones on the other are aluminum because they would scratch really, really easy, whereas in these seem to be steel. And again, I was worried about those breaking and me wearing them down even because I'm putting scrapes in them as aluminum and then putting hundreds of pounds on each one of them. Again, it was just a concern of the whole thing breaking, and the fact that it shimmies and moves and stuff. This one is much heavier, more secure, and it's going to be even more so if I eventually do the whole donkey attachment to it. So pretty happy with today's workout. Everything is kind of flowing in the direction that I need it to. So I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.